So in this session, we will just see this Leetcode problem, that is the valid palindrome.
Oh
So what is
shit.
this valid palindrome? So first of all, you need to understand what is the palindrome. So palindrome is a word or a sentence that if we just read it in a reverse, then it will read in a same way. If I say here a noon, N-O-O-N, noon, right? So this is a word. Now, if I just read it from the last one in a reverse way, then it's same, noon, right? So this is what we call a palindrome. So here's an example. You can also see here that a man, a plan, a canal, Panama, right? So if we just read it in a reverse order without just ignoring all of the commas and all of the subcolumns, the semicolons and spaces, then it will read in a same way. Look at this: a man, a plan. You can see a plan. This is the plan. A canal, and this is the Panama. So you can see that if we just read it in a reverse order, it is read in a same way, right? So we need to check that whether a string will be given to you, and after converting all uppercase letters to lowercase letters and removing all alphanumeric and non-alphanumeric characters. That means we need to remove all of these commas and spaces and semicolons from the string. It reads the same forward and backward. Now, if the program reads the string the same in a forward way and a backward way, and the alphanumeric characters includes like letters and numbers, then it will be a valid palindrome. It should return true. Otherwise, it should return false. Likewise, we have this race a car. So if we remove just non-alphanumeric characters like this is a spaces, then it will look like this. But if we just read it from the backward, then you can see this is the RA, this is the RA, this is the CE, and this is the CA. So E and A, these two are the different things. So this will make it not valid palindrome. It's not a valid palindrome, right? So if we have an empty string, like there is a space or an empty string, so obviously the empty string will be empty. Whether we just read it from the front, forward and backward, it will remain empty. So it will always return true. What I'm going to do here, I just take this example, race a car, like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm using the approach of the two pointers. Now, there are two ways to solve this problem. The one is that we can use the built-in Python functions, but at that time we will gonna compromise on the time complexity that we don't want to do. So there's another approach where we can get the efficient time complexity here. So this is the race a car. This is the string given to you. Now what I have to do, I just initialize two pointers. First is the left pointer and the second is the right pointer. Now here we have this string and I just initialize these two pointers. Now what I have to do, we need to keep remember the one thing that we have to ignore the non-alpha numeric characters. We have to ignore the non-alpha numeric characters. So we have to just keep that in mind always. So what do we have to do? We just initialize two pointers here. This is the left pointer that I have initialized at the 0th index. You can see this is the 0th index, right? And this is the n minus 1 index. N minus 1 index. So I initialized these two pointers out here. Well, I have to use this that while left is less than right. So while the left is less than right, and what do we have to do again? That if this pointer, the pointing towards this character R, if it is not the alphanumeric, we have to just skip this thing and go ahead. Right, now you can see this is the alphanumeric character, right? So this is the alphanumeric character, and now what do we have to do? We have to just check these two characters, that left and right here. Right is also pointing toward this, and you can see that these two characters are same, R and R. All right, R and R both are same. Okay, cool. Now let's move on. Just move this pointer towards the next index, and also move this pointer towards the next index. Now this is the thing that we have to check these two characters A and A. Now you can see these two are the same things. Then now move both pointers to the next index. Now you can see both pointers are pointing towards C. This is the character C. And you can see left is equals to right. Then what do we have to do? We have to again move these two pointers. Now this pointer, this is the right pointer. This is the right pointer, and right pointer is pointing towards this space. This is the space here. So it is pointing towards the space. Now what do you have to do? We just checked, oh, if this right pointer is pointing towards the space, that means that this is the non-alphanumeric character. Space is a non-alphanumeric character. So what do we have to do? We have to just skip this and move only the right pointer ahead. We just move only the right pointer. Now, we again check. Oh, these two equals. Then we will see that if these two characters are not equal, then in that case we will just simply return false. And okay, this is not a palindrome. This is not a palindrome. So we'll simply return the false. Right. If I just explain it to you with the another example that I just took it earlier, that's noon. If you can see, this is the noon. Now, if I initialize these two pointers again, so these are the two pointers that I have initialized here. And now what do we have to do? We have to just check that whether these two characters are same, whether these two characters are same. Yes, these two characters are same. Now move this pointer ahead and this pointer also at the same time. Now the next thing, what do we have to do? We have to just check whether these two characters are same. If you can see that these two characters are same, then what we're gonna do? We're gonna just move this ahead, and this pointer, sorry, this pointer will get ahead, and this pointer will get ahead. Now you can see that left has become greater than right. So I just initialize this while loop with a condition that if the while loop will be running until and unless the left is always less than the right. Now in this case the left has become the greater than right, so this while loop will be stopped, and in the end we have to just return true. That's mean that this string is a valid palindrome. This string is a valid palindrome, right? So this would be our final answer. So this is how this approach of the valid palindrome. Let's just see how we can code this algorithm. You can see here that we have this algorithm, and now we are going to write this algorithm. So the first of all, what do we have to do? We have to just initialize the two pointers. This is the string s you have been given to you, and I'm just initializing this left at the 0th index and this right at the last index, len of s minus 1. So I have initialized these two pointers. Is that I have to just apply the loop. This is the while left is less than right. While this left is less than right, and the next thing that I have to do is to check. Is to just check it. Now this is, you can see here, while I was doing here, I just told you that if there is any kind of space or a non-alphanumeric character, then we have to just skip that and skip that part. You can see when this pointer r was pointing towards this space, I didn't just move this thing. I keep the left pointer at its the previous place, and I just only move this right pointer. So we have to just apply the conditions separately on the both pointers. We need to, I'm just using pass here. First of all, what we have to do here is that we need to check whether the both characters are same or not. For that thing, we need to check this both the characters are same or not. For that thing, we need to just make our own alphanumeric character function. So we have in Python, this is the alpha num we call, but we don't have to use some built-in methods here. So we always wanted to just make our own method instead of using the built-in method, because it will just bring its own time complexity. So I'm just making this name as alpha numeric self, and I'm just using this character. So next it will just only return this thing. So in Python there are two ways to check the ASCII codes. So what do we have to do? How I check this? I will just check the both characters using their ASCII codes. So if you don't know about ASCII codes, so this is the ASCII characters. So there are the binary numbers basically that are associated with every character, whether it's the alphabet or a number or any kind of symbol. So every this character have its own ASCII number, own ASCII code. So we have to check that ASCII code, and in Python there are two ways to check the ASCII code. Either you can write the ORD, or there is another way that I will gonna use here. That is simply you can just write here in the lowercase. If that lowercase is in this range, so what I have written here, so this means that if the character is in a lowercase and it is in this range, so it will return true. I'm using the OR operator here. So if the character is in an upper range, so it will just check here, and this is the thing. Or if the character is a number, because we have to check if this is the alphanumeric, so it will also include a letter or a number. So if it is a number, so I have to check it from 0 to this character. So what does this alphanumeric character do? So it will just return true if any of these three conditions are true, right? So it will always return true. So now I'm just get back to this my is palindrome thing. So while left is less than right, and I'm just writing here self dot alphanumeric Now I'm just going to do here, I have to just pass a single character. So for that, I'm using this. So I have just take this alphanumeric character. Let's say this. Initially this R is here, the L is here. So I'm just checking this one, that whether it is in this position. So yeah, if it is true, then what you have to do is that I have to just decrement 1 from here. So I will just move this R to this index, right? Now again, the same condition will be applied for this left. So the left will be incremented 1 index, right, like this. Now I have to check if this the self dot left, this left is not equals to the right character. In that case, we just immediately return false, because we don't need to check further, because both characters are not equal, so it will definitely not be a valid palindrome. But if it's not the case, then what you have to do, you have to just increment 1 and the decrement right from 1, and in the end we will just return true. So this is the approach that I have used here. If it is working fine, and here one thing I just forgot to add here, that we need to convert it into the lowercase, right? So this is the lowercase, and let me just check if this is all correct. No, this is, here's the one thing that I just forgot to add here. Just we have to use not also, because if that character is not the alphanumeric, because we are applying these two conditions to check whether that character is alphanumeric or not. If it's not, then we will just skip that character, and we have to move the pointer ahead. And here we go, we have all of the test cases are passed and it is working fine, right? So if we just talk about the time and space complexity, so the time complexity of this thing is the on, because we have this loop here. So the mean time complexity of this algorithm is the same. Time complexity of this algorithm is big O of n. And if I just talk about the space complexity, then the space complexity of this algorithm is the O1, because we are not using any kind of additional list or any other data structures here. So we are not using any additional list or data structure, so the space complexity will be 1, O1. I hope you understand this very well, and if you have any queries, so you can definitely ask in the comment section.